All right, welcome back. And in this video, we're going to do a little tour through n8n's website as well as the workflow builder here. So first off, I'm at their website, n8n.io, and maybe the URL changes in the future. So if it's not this URL, I would just Google n8n and the associated site will pop up. But right now we're just going through the website. We can view a few template workflows or example workflows they have provided. So in this case, this is an IT operation workflow that is used to onboard new employees. So from a high level look, it looks like whenever a new user or create user form submission is submitted, maybe by HR. So if HR onboards an employee, IT has to then create the user. So it looks like what's happening is we are interacting with the Anthropic chat model. We're storing this memory of this conversation in Postgres. And then it looks like we're doing something with enter ID, most likely creating the user. We create a new Jira ticket that is creating a user. And then we have this if condition here that says if this is a manager and that's true, then we will go and add them to a specific channel. Otherwise, if they're not a manager, we will just update their profile. And again, I'm not exactly sure what this workflow is doing without more context, but from a high level look, it looks like whenever a create user form is submitted, the user is created in enter ID, and then there's a if condition to check if they're a manager. And again, that's just my interpretation of it based on the data I'm given. There are other workflows they've displayed, so security operations, workflow they could do, DevOps, maybe sales, and so on. Scrolling down here, we can look at all these integrations they have. We could browse all if we want, and just overall information on the platform. So let's head back up to the top. And let's go ahead and click on get started. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to enter my information and I'm going to start my free 14-day trial. And if I remember correctly, I didn't have to enter any card details, any credit card details. It just let me start the trial. I didn't need any payment information up front. So let me go through this just to verify you don't have to have any money up front. All right, so my workspace is now starting up. I didn't have to enter any payment information. All I had to do was enter my email, set up an account, and that was it. So it didn't ask me for any payment information, and as long as nothing changes in the future, you should not need anything up front either. All right, so my workspace is done. Let's click start automating. All right, so here it is. We have nothing done yet. Nothing's made. This is just our empty kind of dashboard here. We've got nothing going on. But essentially what we can look at here is we have our workflows pane here. We have our credentials pane. So if we have different, I don't know, maybe if we have different connections like Slack or Gmail, we would need to save our credentials here. So think of it like this. If you have an action that says send an email, well, you need some type of credentials to give to n8n to be able to send that email from the account you wanted to send it from. So those would be the credentials saved here. The executions here would just be all the runs that our workflows have had. And means we don't have anything yet, there's going to be nothing that shows. You can head over here and look at personal, and this would be your own workflows owned by you. And overview is all the workflows that I have access to. So maybe I'm a part of multiple different groups. I could view all these different workflows as part of those groups, or maybe someone created one but gave me edit access and so on. You can also add a project if you want, and then you could have multiple workflows within this project. But again, we're just gonna stick with the basics. We don't need to create any projects with multiple workflows, but of course you can branch into projects if you wanna take a more advanced approach to n8n. And as you go further, you're gonna, eventually wanna upskill. But it means this is a beginner course. We do not need to do all that. You can head over to your admin panel, look at the backend details or settings. You can also upgrade your plan if you want, but again, we don't have to do too much here. I'm gonna head back and now let's click on variables. We'll head to templates afterwards. Now with variables, if you have any background in coding, these are just used to store data to a specific key. So for example, may I want to store the key to be CTA and the value would be Cloud Trader Academy. This isn't a great example, but you can see if I want to call this variable, all I have to do is type this $vars.cta. And then the value that would show would be Cloud Trader Academy. Now, of course, this has no use case at all with my key and value, but that's just how we can do it. And it'll make more sense once we actually create some workflows. We have insights down here to show our executions, if we had any failed executions, etc. Now let's go and click on templates, because templates has the most, I guess, exciting or useful type of information on this dashboard. And this is essentially where we can just copy someone else's workflow and then build off of it. So maybe we want to go down to trending AI templates, and this is a personal AI assistant with Telegram voice and text. Well, that sounds interesting to me. I'm going to click this. So clicking that, I now have the option to use this, or I can also explore the workflow right here if I wanted to. So maybe I'll just click explore right now and I'll zoom in. There we go. Drag over here. We also have a built-in tutorial with this. We can see that we are listening for incoming calls. There is this Telegram request that goes through. And then we have this speech to text. We link to an AI assistant, and then it has all these different tools associated with it. It's memory being stored here in window buffer memory, and it's using OpenAI. And then we send our message via Telegram. Okay, that sounds interesting. Let me click use for free. And then if I wanted to use this I just made or import it to my other workspace that I was testing off of, I'm going to click on import the template to my workspace I just made. And now we can see if I want to set this up, I'm going to have to create all these credentials. So being we're using Telegram, Gmail, etc., I would need to connect all these credentials in order to actually make this workflow work. I'm going to click on skip. We'll just worry about it later. And now I can see the workflow here. So I'm going to get rid of this tutorial here. So I'm just going to right click and click on delete. And now I have this workflow here of this trigger, all these nodes, these actions, and then of course the ending here. But I know this is a little confusing. No one wants to start a workflow with all this here because that doesn't actually teach us anything. It's already done. So let's head back over into our personal workspace. I'm going to leave without saving. But now if we want to create a workflow, you can come to the top right, click on create workflow, and there we go. We have a blank empty workflow with nothing in it. So that's a tour of the n8n site as well as the dashboard. Now in our next video, we're going to be talking about the actual workflows. We're going to talk about adding steps, and then we'll go from there. So I'll see you in the next video where we'll start with using triggers. And then as mentioned, we'll go further with adding steps to these triggers. And then once we have that covered, we'll actually be able to start building some workflows. So I'll see you there.